the myth of money on OnlyFans, the false dream of making millions by doing little. It's not true for this industry. It's not true for any industry. Here's what I uncovered based on the research. What part of that is empowering women? I want to pivot for a second to men. It's just gotten me so riled up. OnlyFans needs to be shut down. Let's keep talking about it. Hello, pussies. Welcome back to another episode of Platinum Pussy with your host, Sarish Khan. How are you guys doing? Like, really, how are you doing? Have you paused for a moment and just sat with your feelings and your thoughts with everything that's going on in the world right now, whether it's politics or the economy or society at large? I know I don't often get the opportunity to do that, and life is just moving at the speed of light. And this morning, I took some time to myself and sat with everything that's happened in the past week, the people I've met, the places I've gone, and the conversations that I have had. And some really heavy and disturbing things came up for me. And they lend their way to the episode today. So what's been on my mind past couple of days is how we use social media and how we use online platforms to market ourselves and use them as a source of income, especially as women. And what's front and center for me right now is the platform called OnlyFans. Now, unless you are living under a rock, you have probably heard of this platform, but if you haven't heard what OnlyFans is, it is a subscription-only platform where users called content creators or creators on the platform can share private parts of their lives with a more exclusive audience. Now, there are some people who use the platform for, things like family recipes and projects they're working on that they don't want to release to the rest of the world or don't want to share on Instagram or TikTok. However, the vast majority of creators on the platform use it for sex work and for explicit content. Okay. The reason this came up is because last week I was at an entertainment event and, we were talking about all things like AI, social media, and how women are predominantly taking over those spaces, and it's become a huge source of income for women, which I absolutely love. Like, we are dominating that field. So all good things there. However, at some point we got into a conversation about monetizing on these platforms, and the topic of OnlyFans came up. And as a joke, this person that I was talking to, another woman, said, you could really make a lot more money with some of your content, like even your dance videos on OnlyFans. I never shut anything down immediately. And so I gave it a little bit of thought because some of the videos that I do in dance, and just to clarify, I am not making any money from my dancing videos. They're not monetized. I dance at a studio. It's called Playground. It's in Melrose, and it's purely for my own happiness and mental health and for me to express myself and be sensual and be around a group of women and feel supported. So I thought, well, you know what? There are some videos that I do not post because, I think maybe they're a little too sensual, or the outfit I wore was inappropriate, or I had, wardrobe malfunction. Anyway, I just wanted to dig into the platform a little bit more, what it's about, because I've never been on it. I only know the really, really famous OnlyFans creators and how they talk about making millions and millions of dollars. So I spent maybe, 15 hours this week digging up information, and here's what I found, and I want to share it with you. So I gathered some stats from online reports, different articles, because there isn't public information available about OnlyFans and its users and the percentages. So take this with a grain of salt because it is not independently verified and it's not coming from the original resource. However, here's what I uncovered based on the research. Majority of creators on OnlyFans are women, not surprising, roughly 80%. And 20% of female creators are between the ages of 18 to 24. Women earn 3 times as much as men on the platform, which is not surprising because it's something around 75 to 80% of the subscribers on OnlyFans are men. The average creator makes around $150 a month, and only a small, tiny percentage make over $100,000 a month. Creators that are making top dollar, upwards of millions of dollars, are doing so by subscriptions, pay-per-view, tips, live streams, custom content, exclusive one-on-one videos, along with marketing, promotion, and engagement. My initial reaction to everything I've read and all of the data and the statistics is OnlyFans needs to be shut down. But I know that's not happening anytime soon. So I want to dig a little bit deeper into some of these statistics and what they mean for society and especially for women. Let's start with the age range of women who are creators on this platform. 20% of women are aged 18 to 24 on the platform. Your frontal lobe, the prefrontal cortex, is not fully developed until the age of 25. And I believe it can be even longer than that. And that's the part of your brain that controls your executive function. So things like planning, decision making, impulse control, your working memory, your personality, so many things are still in flux, in flow. You are still developing and understanding who you are and how you make choices from a rational perspective. So women who are ages 18 to 24 are not even fully developed in their mind on how to make good decisions for themselves. And they are creating explicit content on this platform where I don't believe it is heavily monitored. There are a lot of privacy and security issues that are coming up. And what concerns me so much about this is I want to be a mom and I would love to have a daughter for various reasons. And it is so scary to me to imagine raising a daughter in this environment where she's graduating high school. She is legally an adult. I do not have any control over her choices. And if in her mind, the message is that I can make easy money and quick money on this platform, and I don't even have to meet somebody in person, because that is the rhetoric that gets pushed around a lot, is you don't even have to have sex with somebody to make money. You are fully in control as a woman. It is a message that's sold in a way of saying that women are empowered, and that is completely false. I do not want my daughter growing up with this mindset and thinking, well, college isn't worth it, or starting a business isn't worth it. I can have financial independence and security by doing very little and having control and getting my power back. So that concerns me so much. It's just really disheartening because I think it preys on younger women and is sold as a tool for having autonomy and having financial security. So let's get into that. Let's talk about the myth of money on OnlyFans. So you heard me say earlier that majority of creators on the platform are making $150 a month. Now, there are people who are making a lot more money than that, but they are putting in many, many hours of work and putting themselves in situations that could potentially be dangerous, not just physically, but also for their mental health. There are just numerous articles, and I wanted to pull some of them and read them on this podcast, but I want to leave that responsibility with all of you who are listening. It doesn't take a whole lot of research. Just hop on chat or hop on Google and look at mental health issues and impact of sex work broadly, and specifically when it comes to online platforms like OnlyFans. It is so destructive to how you value yourself, how you value your body, and thinking that your body is a tool to manipulate men who are insecure and want momentary pleasure and market off of that. I don't understand what part of that is empowering women. That is not the type of empowerment that I want to get behind, where women are using men, manipulating them, preying on their insecurities and their self-worth to make a living. In going down this rabbit hole, I also tried to look up women who are creators and who've had positive experiences, who have had negative experiences, and read a variety of opinions on the topic. And I pulled one that specifically really impacted me, and I think it's important to share. So I'm going to read that off for you because it relates so well to this myth of money. Okay. So this is from a creator who's been on the platform for a few years and has recently gotten off the platform. The first 7 months that I used the platform, I made roughly $1,000 a month. I needed more money, so I started using the platform for longer hours. Some weeks I was spending 50 hours online, making me $5,000 per month. It took me 2 years to start making more than $10,000 a month on the platform, and this involved custom videos, live streaming, and sometimes playing out kinks that were uncomfortable or painful. I stopped using the platform 2 months ago when a client, through photo metadata, video backgrounds, street noises, and cues from conversations, was able to figure out my location. I feared my safety and privacy and wanted to get out. For anyone looking to use this platform for easy money, make sure you're using the right safety precautions and looking after your mental sanity. It's not as easy as it looks. So for those of you who think that this is an easy, quick way to make money, you can get in, get out, it's not. Things like that will suck you in, and the dream, the false dream of making millions by doing little is just not true. It's not true for this industry. It's not true for any industry. There are far and few people that are an overnight success and who get lucky. Anything that has longevity and has financial security long term requires commitment, and it requires time. It requires a lot of hard work. And as you can see, you're putting in 50 to 60 hours a week to make somewhere around 10K a month. There are so many other ways to do that. I'm not saying it's simple. I'm not saying it's easy. I know our economy is in a really, really shitty place right now. I get that. I know it's not so easy to just snap your fingers and find a job. However, I can tell you one thing. If you can master sales in life, and clearly if you're on this platform and you're having success, you know how to sell. You know how to market yourself. So if you can master sales, if you can use AI, ChatGPT, we're living in a time where so much is at your disposal. It's at your fingertips. You can build an online course. We all have experiences in life that somebody else can benefit for. There's an audience for everything. Whatever it is that you've been through in life and experienced and moved past, it can help somebody else. So whether you want to do that in a way of being a coach or creating a course, creating a workbook, these things are so much easier to do now. There's not that much barrier to entry. when it comes to creating these streams of revenue. And I want you to just explore that. I want you to explore that first before thinking, well, I can just use my body and make easy money. Let's just be honest. These platforms are for the young and beautiful. That is just a fact. You are going to age out of being the top creator on a platform like this. Think a little more long term, because if you are going to spend your youth and some of the greatest years of your life wasting them away on something like this, it's going to be challenging later on. I know we live in a time where Botox and filler and surgeries can make you look younger than you are, but there will always be someone younger, hotter, willing to do more than you, who's going to outnumber you when it comes to your ability to make money. So think a little more long term, because if you're going to spend your youth and some of the greatest years of your life wasting them away on something like this, it's going to be challenging later on. And I just don't want somebody to live under this false dream that you can I'm having a hard time with this one because it is making me really, it's really frustrating me right now, and I'm trying to keep my composure because I know I need to record this podcast for you and make succinct points, but it's just gotten me so riled up, and I don't know what took me so long to get to this point, but let's keep talking about it. I want to pivot for a second to men. I read this on TikTok, so this is really not fact checked, but there's a number of videos saying or claiming that 50% of men in the United States are subscribed to OnlyFans. I don't know if this is true, but I would not be surprised if the number is that high. That's roughly around 82 million men. And here's my question. Do you feel a sense of masculinity draining your bank account for a monetized fantasy? Like, does it increase your self-worth to know that you can get a woman's attention, false attention, by throwing dollars towards them? Like, there's something very wrong going on in your thought process. And I'm actually really concerned about men's mental health. Hear me out. I really feel that men need a lot more support than they are getting. The desire to feel satisfied through spending money on a fantasy, something that's not real, is coming from a place of self-worth. It's coming from a place of insecurity. It's perhaps coming from a place of dissatisfaction. And the one thing I can say is, as a woman, as women, we are much better at building community than men. We have women's circles, we have women's therapy groups. I'm a part of 5 different WhatsApp groups with women, whether it's about like women who are creators, women who are ambitious, women who are in touch with their spirituality. And I really don't think there are a lot of avenues for men to sit together in a healthy way and talk about their sexual problems, talk about their financial issues, talk about the burdens of life. I could be wrong, but I just am not aware of those spaces. All I really know is men like watching sports or having beers at the bar and not talking about their feelings and not talking about their emotions. And anytime they do show any signs of vulnerability or doubt, other men will call them a pussy. There needs to be more spaces for men to talk about the issues they're facing, the thoughts that are taking over their mind, and finding healthy avenues of letting that out or dealing with it. First and foremost, like, get into therapy. Like, talk to a therapist. Like, start there. They're not going to judge you. No one's going to know. If you don't feel comfortable, you don't need to disclose it to the whole world. I'm not saying I'm going to be the advocate and make these spaces for men, but if you're a man listening to this, think about that. Think about your friend circle. Like, how can you start small? Like, maybe create a men's group. It can revolve around the activities you like doing, like watching sports or going for a hike, but maybe you give 20 minutes of that time to just sitting down and saying, hey man, like, is everything okay? How are things going in your relationship? Like, what's going on with your finances? Like, make it a point to have community for each other, because I really feel that this is coming from a place of isolation. I want to believe that men can do better. I really do. As a man, you have a responsibility to not feed into this cycle, because at the end of the day, you are being exploited. You are being exploited for your emotions, your feelings, for your finances. And there is no power in that. There is no masculinity in that. I know some people will say that there is also a lot of good that's come out of platforms like OnlyFans. And I know where they're coming from. I've heard comments like, well, it's much safer for women who are out on the street doing sex work, who are being controlled by a pimp, who are being abused, who are being taken for granted and not getting the money that they deserve for the work that they are doing. The way OnlyFans works, from the best of my knowledge, is as a creator, you keep 80% of the money you earn and the platform keeps 20%. There's no middleman. I hear you. And yes, it is better in some ways, and it is helping a certain community of women who have a better resource of making ends meet. But the problem is, I don't know how valid that argument is, because I'm not sure if all of the users on OnlyFans are women who are already in the field and are transitioning to just a safer avenue of making money. I assume that there are a lot of new users, especially given that a lot of these women are 18 to 24 who are doing this for the first time. And instead of seeking other alternatives, they're going to sex work as an easy, lucrative form of making money. I worked on a human trafficking initiative back in 2017 when I lived in New York. I used to be a model at the time, and it was through an organization called We Model USA. I believe they still exist, and they're still fighting the good fight against human trafficking. The We stands for Women Empowerment, and it was an initiative for models to speak up about human trafficking and the impacts that it has in society, particularly in New York. There's a very high number of trafficked women who are forced into sex work. And the regulations and the statutes have changed drastically in New York over the years. And I know as of recent, they've become even more lenient and favorable to help women get out of this line of work and help them transition into other jobs so they can make a living and still provide for themselves. But the initiative was really about decriminalizing prostitution, because prostitution is a criminal act and you can be sentenced to jail time and extremely high fines. It's different state to state, but in New York, it's taken very seriously. And what the initiative was doing is cracking down on human trafficking. And a lot of these women did not have any other option. They were sold or forced into this trade, and they should not face criminal penalty. I can tell you, during that project, that I spoke to a number of women who were in this line of work, and the stories I heard from them about the violence that they had to suffer, the mental impacts, the effects on their self-worth, and the women who had children, they were so desperate to get out. But this is a space that once it sucks you in, you can get stuck in it for life. And it can really shatter your confidence and your ability to see yourself and to see men in any other light. I bring this up because, gosh, like, people will take these things so lightly. Like, get on OnlyFans and just make some money. You don't have to like take it all off. That's how it starts though. Like, you do a little bit and then you want a little bit more money, and pretty soon you're stuck in this world. So I want you to think twice about what narratives are being disguised and sold to you as empowerment when really they're exploitation. Recording this episode is actually making me think about something that is even more baseline and innocent in some ways. I have been questioning some of the content that I put out on social media. Let me clarify. I try to be mindful about what I'm posting on social media and the impact that it has on people who are following me, because I am very, very much aware that there are a lot of young girls who look up to me, who want to be like me, who think my life is amazing and perfect. And that's why I try to be honest and raw and real about, how hard it is to, make a certain amount of income or show up with, full confidence and balance everything in life. But there are a lot of times where I just post something just to post it because I think I look freaking hot. And that's all the thought that I've given it. And if you go to my Instagram, you'll see pictures that honestly, they are thirst trap pictures. I'm not going to lie. I'm, not posting them for like the artistic value or for the outfit. I am posting it because, you know what? It makes me feel good to see some of the comments, and makes me feel good to see that, damn, my body is tea. It's just the truth. Sometimes I'll post dance videos and I know they're sensual and they're provocative, and people might take it the wrong way, and that's okay. That's okay. I'm posting them because I feel good about myself. I'm not making money from them. However, I did pause and think today, why am I actually doing it? Am I doing it for male validation? Am I doing it for my self-worth? Would I feel any different if I didn't get hundreds of likes or if I didn't get comments? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I had this conversation with a acquaintance, I'll say. She's much younger than me. And we were talking about social media and how, like, I am so sick of scrolling through and seeing like hundreds and hundreds of girls with like a thong and showing their ass and like all these like, thirst trap pictures. And it's just like so boring to me. Honestly, I guess they're still doing it because men like it and they're getting attention. And I was, feeling a certain way about it. I'm not a huge fan of it. I haven't done that yet, but, maybe at some point I might post a picture like that. So I should probably watch what I say. But anyway, I was having this conversation, and as a joke, in a very friendly way, she said, well, you know what? Your dance videos are so much more sexier than any of those pictures. So you don't need to post a picture like that. And I'm now thinking about that comment, which she did not mean it in a nasty way at all. But in thinking about that comment, I am in control and I have autonomy over my life, where I can stop doing that whenever I want to. And that's what's important to me, is having choice. I am not judging you for posting whatever you want to post on social media. Go ahead. If you are comfortable with it, like, post anything you want to. But I just want you to be aware and take a step back for a second to think, am I doing this for my own pleasure, or am I a victim to the patriarchy? Am I a victim to the male gaze? Because I question if so much of what's happening on social media is being sold as empowerment, but really it is the exploitation of women. And that's what I want to leave you with today. I don't have a clear answer for some of my questions, some of my thoughts, but I just want us to take more time before hitting post. I want us to take more time before just scrolling through videos and liking videos, because the more you're liking this sort of content, the more it's going to exist. So you are perpetuating a cycle. This is what was on my mind, and it was bothering me, and I wanted to talk about it. And at the very, very minimum, I just hope anybody listening to this episode is going to take a moment and pause and be intentional about the things that they're doing on and off social media, and recognizing how it's impacting you and it's impacting the people involved. That's all I have to say for today. As always, I'm open to comments, feedback, and open conversations. So until then, stay platinum and tune in next week.